Your hand is on the doorknob. You haven't opened it yet. On the other side is a meeting or a conversation or a room full of people. Or maybe just your own kitchen at the end of a day that took too much from you. Your jaw is tight. Your shoulders are up somewhere near your ears. Your breath is shallow, high in your chest, the kind of breath that doesn't quite reach the bottom of your lungs. Your heart is going a little faster than it should be. For someone who is literally just standing still, you swallow. You try to look calm. You tell yourself to get it together. And then you turn the knob. You've probably heard 1,000 times what you're supposed to do in this moment. Take a deep breath, count to 10, drink some water. Think positive thoughts, visualize a beach. Maybe try that app, maybe try that tea. Maybe try harder. None of that is wrong, exactly. But none of it is what actually happens inside your nervous system when it's already activated. Because by the time your hand is on that doorknob, your body has already made its decision. Your amygdala has already fired. Your sympathetic nervous system is already flooding you with adrenaline and cortisol. Trying to think positive at that point is like trying to reason with a smoke alarm. It doesn't care about your logic. It cares about one thing only: safety. And here's what almost nobody tells you. Your brain does not decide whether you are safe by looking at the world. It decides by listening to you. In 2007, Dr. Matthew Lieberman at UCLA ran a study that quietly became one of the most important findings in modern neuroscience. He put participants in an fMRI scanner and showed them images designed to provoke fear and anxiety. Angry faces, threatening scenes. Their amygdalas lit up, exactly as expected. Then he asked them to do something almost absurdly simple: name the emotion, out loud in words. The moment they did, their amygdala activity dropped, measurably, visibly, on the scan. And activity in the right ventrolateral prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for emotional regulation, went up. He called it affect labeling. Feelings, named precisely, lose their grip. Your nervous system, it turns out, is waiting for you to speak. Stay with me here, because the next part is what changes how you walk into every room for the rest of your life. If something in you is already softening just from hearing this, subscribe, drop a like, and don't leave this video. The 4 words are coming, but first you need to understand why they work. Otherwise, they're just syllables. Because here's the thing. Not every phrase calms the nervous system. Some make it worse. Telling yourself to calm down actually increases amygdala activation in most people, according to research from Harvard Medical School. Telling yourself don't be anxious backfires the same way telling yourself don't think of a white bear fails. The brain latches onto the image, not the instruction. What works is different. What works is a phrase that does 3 things at once. It acknowledges the state. It orients you to safety. And it shifts you out of the threat response network into the regulation network. The 4 words that do this, according to multiple convergent lines of research in effective neuroscience, are deceptively simple. I am safe now. That's it. 4 words, 1 sentence. But the way they work inside you is not simple at all. Psychologically, those 4 words do something your nervous system is starving for. They name the present. Almost all anxiety lives in the future. Almost all trauma lives in the past. The word now is a neurological anchor. Studies from the University of Wisconsin in mindfulness research led by Dr. Richard Davidson have shown that present moment language activates the medial prefrontal cortex and dampens the default mode network, which is the part of your brain that generates rumination. The word now, spoken internally, is like a hand on the shoulder of a running child. It says stop. Look, you're here. Chemically, something even more interesting happens. When you pair the phrase with a slow exhale, longer out-breath than in-breath, you stimulate the vagus nerve. Research published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience in 2018 demonstrated that vagal activation lowers heart rate, reduces blood pressure, and triggers the release of acetylcholine, your body's natural calming neurotransmitter. The words alone help. The words plus the breath together are a neurological off switch. And historically, this is where it gets really interesting. Because almost every ancient tradition, in almost every culture, developed short phrases paired with breath. The Hebrew Shema, the Christian Jesus prayer, the Buddhist Metta, the Sanskrit Soham, not because they were religious rituals in the way we think of rituals, But because, long before fMRI machines existed, humans had discovered, experientially, that saying certain words in a certain rhythm changed the body, calmed the body, returned the body to itself. Modern neuroscience is essentially catching up to something your ancestors have been doing for 6,000 years. Now here is the paradox that stopped researchers in their tracks. A 2013 study published in the journal Emotion found something that seemed impossible. Participants who used self-reassurance phrases in the first person, like I am okay or I am safe, actually had a smaller calming effect than participants who used the same phrases in the second or third person. Read that again. Saying, you are safe now to yourself, or Maria is safe now if your name is Maria, produced a stronger regulation response than saying, I am safe now? Why? Because the brain, under stress, hears first person as identification with the threat. I am scared. I am panicking. I am safe. All get lumped into the same experiential knot, but second person creates distance. You are safe now is the voice of a protector, not the voice of the one being protected. It activates the same neural pathways as being comforted by someone you trust. So the refined version of the technique, the one the neuroscience actually supports, is this. You say your own name gently inside your head, and then you say, you are safe now, 4 words, after your name, spoken slowly, on an exhale. I want to stop here for a second, because I know this is an AI voice carrying these words to you, but I want you to know the person behind the script is real. My name is Fernando. I wrote this sitting in my own kitchen, thinking about someone exactly like you, standing with their hand on a doorknob somewhere tonight. I'm genuinely grateful you're here, and I hope with everything in me that you are eternally blessed in whatever way your soul understands that word. Now back to it, because the technique isn't complete yet. The timing matters. You don't use this phrase after the storm passes. You use it the moment you notice the first signal. The tight jaw, the shallow breath, the tension behind the eyes, the stomach that just dropped for no reason. That is the window. Research on emotional regulation consistently shows that early intervention, before the full cascade of cortisol and adrenaline hits peak, produces dramatically better outcomes than trying to recover afterward. So the sequence, in practice, looks like this. You feel the first flicker. You pause. You exhale longer than you inhale. You say your name silently, and then, you are safe now. Done in under 6 seconds. And you can do it anywhere. In traffic, in a meeting, before a difficult text, after a difficult text, in the middle of the night when you wake up and your chest is already racing for reasons you can't name, with your hand on a doorknob, with your forehead on a steering wheel, in the bathroom at work for 30 seconds, just to come back to yourself. Here is what changes when you start doing this consistently. Your baseline shifts. Neuroplasticity is not a metaphor. Every time you pair that phrase with a calming breath, you strengthen the neural pathway between cue and regulation. Over weeks, your nervous system begins to downregulate on its own. Earlier and earlier because you have trained it to associate that specific sentence with safety. You are, quite literally, rewiring your response to stress through language. 2019, study from Carnegie Mellon showed that participants who practiced brief self-distance affect labeling for just 2 weeks showed measurable reductions in daily cortisol response. Not after months, after 14 days. Your nervous system learns fast when you finally speak to it in a language it understands. So let's go back to that doorknob. Your hand is on it. Your jaw is tight, your breath is high. But this time you don't turn the knob yet. You breathe out slowly, longer than you breathed in. You say your own name softly inside your head, and then you are safe now. And something strange happens. The shoulders drop, half an inch, maybe. The jaw unclenches a little, the breath goes lower. The heart doesn't stop racing. Not completely, not instantly. But it begins to remember how to slow down. Because someone is finally speaking to it. Someone is finally telling it the truth it has been waiting to hear. You turn the knob. You walk in. And you are not a different person. You are just, finally, a person who is not at war with their own body. For most of your life, you've been trying to think your way into calm. Tonight you learned that calm was never a thought. It was always a sentence. 4 words, spoken gently, believed even a little. And that is sometimes the entire difference between a day that drains you and a day that does not. If this reached you, leave a comment with just those 4 words. You are safe now. Like the video so it reaches someone else standing at their own doorknob tonight. Subscribe, because in the next one I'm going to show you something even more surprising. The exact sentence people say to themselves right before a panic attack, and why that one sentence is almost always the trigger, even when they don't realize it. You are going to want to hear that one.